So I'm Bob Flint. I'm the Executive Director of Springfield Regional Development Corporation, and we have been overseeing and coordinating the redevelopment of the old Fellows Gear Shaper property for the past several years. The old-timers, I guess I'm one too now, would know that this was the original location of Fellows Gear Shaper. It was here from the late 1800s until roughly 1970 when it moved to the North Springfield Fellows plant. Following that and a series of events, this became kind of a quasi-incubator building that was operated by Precision Valley Development Corporation. There's a number of companies still in this town, like the Dance Factory, like Lincoln Street, Acrylic Design, Precision Valley Communications, and others that were here at one time. In the past probably 10 years or so, the building was really falling into disrepair, and we inherited it in around 2005, 2006, and we, through a series of events, have been working with some developers from the Washington, D.C. area called 100 River Street LLC to do this project. This project is a $13 million redevelopment of this 6-acre, formerly 210,000 square foot building into what we call a mixed-use property. Many people are probably aware that Springfield Hospital, actually Springfield Medical Care Systems, is opening a community health center in the front part of the building, the part towards River Street. That's where primary care and other primary care services like the lab and so forth will be. That's in about 30,000 feet of the building. The rest of the building is going to be a variety of different things. The part of the building we're standing in is what we call the Great Hall. This will be kind of probably the most visible public space that people engage in here in the building. The intention is that this can be used for public events. Hopefully things like the Festival of Trees, if it works out, or concerts, or public indoor farmers market. You could rent it out for weddings or functions. You're going to come to this space in any number of ways. The doors we just came through come off of a parking lot off of Pearl Street. To my left is an entrance off wooden buildings that have been converted into parking garages. The entrance to what is going to be the community health center is over my left shoulder. To my right is where things like retail shops, such as a pharmacy and a bank, will be. We also intend to have a restaurant and a cafe. There also is the possibility of assisted living for seniors and any number of things. There's a lot of square footage still to rent, and we're excited about seeing this having been transformed from what it was into really the jewel it is for Springfield. This project's a lot of things. It's a brownfield remediation, it's a downtown development project, and it's a historic preservation project. And obviously, as a Springfielder, this means a lot to me personally, but this means a lot for historic preservation, and some of the funding that's come into this has been because of that. So what you're looking at now is the original part of Fellows, dating back to 1896. If you had been here a year ago, there was a building. This was all one building, in terms of it being contiguous and connected. Obviously, there's been a portion that's been demolished. Soils have been removed. The yellow building, as I refer to it, had to stay and is being restored. The building used to exist from here to there. That part of the building got taken away. It's about 160,000 square feet of building left. There was 210. This part got taken out. The boiler house used to have more to it towards the back. That's another historic element that was required to be maintained. All right, so now we have heat. We're in the community health center, and I'll show you a couple of vistas in that. I mean, basically, the idea is that where your doctor is, you're going to come here. The other thing is that a lot of people use the emergency room for stuff that are emergencies.
Right.
They would now come here. And if you don't have a doctor, you could walk in and get seen. A lot more finished off. That's an original vault.
That's cool.
They built it. So we're now standing in what I call the front part of the building. River Street is just over to the right. The bridge is just over to the right. And we're in what used to be offices for Fellows Gear Shapers. So hopefully you're able to see some of the woodworking, the windows, the casing, kind of the historic elements that were really cool that they've maintained and integrated into what will be the Springfield Health Center, which will be a primary care clinic serving Springfield. This is about 30,000 feet of the building. As you can see, the finish work is nearing completion in a lot of it, and it's kind of cool to see that we maintain the historic character of it and really bringing new life. We're in another one of the parts of the community health center. Just to our left is the infamous footbridge, which many in the community remember the adventure of removing and replacing this past summer. Obviously, you know, the parking along River Street, much of it goes with the buildings, so you'll be able to park there, cross the bridge, and you'll come into a vestibule for the community health center.
Oh my goodness.
Another point is that there's a tremendous amount, understandably, a tremendous amount of curiosity about the building, and everybody's dying to see what you guys are seeing. It's still a construction site. Please stay away. BOSHA's watching, you know, so you know, we need to make sure that everything's done and the project's completed. There will certainly be community tours once the building's open. In the 80s, this was all a big bingo hall. People used to come up and take buses and play bingo, both here and what's now the state office building. It's a cool building. I mean,
it really
out
is.
of all the shop buildings, this is the one I cared about. So I'm glad I'm glad we've saved it.
What about exterior work? How much had to be done with like the bricks on the outside and stuff?
Not
like
bad.
that?
Roof, significant amount of roof work. At some point, probably not before it opens, but at some point, the brick on the River Street facing side needs to be repointed and cleaned up a little bit. But that's a tricky job. So, I mean, this building's a lot of things, this project's a lot of things, and one of the things I think that's neat about it is the resurrection of a dormant hydro facility that's 100 kilowatts, that it's no accident the businesses of the town were built along the river to take advantage of river power. This hydro plant is being brought back online. The community health center is doing some interesting things with geothermal as well, using some of from the water from the river. So this is a green project, and just another thing that makes this a great thing for the community.
Definitely.
The building was and is here, but this was all open space. So they've now walled it in and put in the glass doors. So like I said, you come in off the bridge and you'll come into a vestibule window over there. So I was right at a close eye view.